Hi, my name's Brian Martin. Today we're going to be talking about air plants, or Tillandsias. And the Tillandsias are in a group of plants in the Bromeliaceae family, and they're what we call epiphytes, and they thrive and grow outside of soil. These are New World plants, South America, Central America. We have some that are in the southern United States, and they grow in the upper canopies and along the bases of the trees, so that gives us an idea of what kind of light conditions they need. Basically, they need good light, and you can put these, you need to have these in a window if you're going to grow them in the home. As they really are a lot of foliage, they have very, very slight roots to them. They have just enough roots to stick them to the tree or the object that they're growing on, but not enough to actually create a long extended root system. So that actually is an indication of how they access moisture, which all plants need. What they like in terms of watering is a lot of water and then a quick drainage and a lot of air around them, and then they cycle back to water again. There's several ways you can grow them. This is mounted. This is put on a piece of cork, and this has been here for a number of years. You can see they've gone through their flower cycle. Many of the flowers are quite beautiful when they're in bloom, and they have different textures to them. Some are silver gray, some are green. But this has stuck itself to a piece of cork, much like it would in a tropical forest on a tree. And so the way to water that would be to, if you happen to be in a greenhouse in an area where you have a hose, just spray it with water. Or you could take this over to the sink and just spray with a spritzer, spray water on it, or you could use a sprayer like this where you mist it. But you want to actually mist it thoroughly so the plant actually is quite wet. It's not just a small amount. You really want to get the plant soaked with water like a shower came through and hit the plant. When we're done, there's no water being retained around the root system. And although it will collect in the top here, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a way of kind of conserving water. In the greenhouses here, when it's a sunny day, we hit them most every day, every other day. You could probably get away with a couple times a week, maybe even once a week in the summertime when the humidity isn't a lot of stress on the plant, because they really do pull humidity out of the air very effectively. The key is to never let them sit in standing water. So that's one way to grow them. This is another one. This is Tillandsia I Anantha, which creates a ball and cute little miniature for the windowsill. The flowers are really beautiful. They're pink and have purple in them. Flowers generally in the springtime. In the group of Tillandsias, and this is a lot of fun for those of us that don't live in the South. For those of us that live in the South, this is a common occurrence. But this is Spanish moss, and that is a Tillandsia also. And that actually, as far as I can see, really doesn't have any roots at all. Makes a good indoor plant, with the exception of you have to really be vigilant with your misting and your watering on this. It's not because there are no roots at all, this can be very stressed if you don't water it. Also, Tillandsias can be grown in containers, but when we do that, it's more of a decorative thing. So you can see that this is plant's fine, it's growing, set it down inside there, but be really careful that this container doesn't fill up with moisture at all. There's a drainage hole in the bottom of this. Spritz it with water 2 or 3 times a week, once a week if you're busy, but at least once a week give it a drink, and then allow it to hang in a bright window where it can get sunlight. And then we have something that's come into the industry in recent years, using Tillandsias sort of as decorative pieces. The thing about these is they have actually been glued in. They use a hot glue that's not hot enough to damage the plant itself, but it holds it stuck. Just really don't have the ability to thrive and grow stuck with glue like that. But they are beautiful things. You kind of always think of them sort of as you do a florist bouquet, where you're using them as decorative pieces in the home. Generally, epiphytes typically don't need a lot of fertilizer, so you might do it once a month. Put a little bit of fertilizer, and be really cautious you don't overdo it. Put a little bit of fertilizer in your spritzer and spray them with that. Will help in terms of increasing growth on them, but these are not heavy feeding plants. So there's a little bit of information on how to grow the Tillandsia, or the air plant. A great plant for the home, and if you grow them for a period of time, many of them put out beautiful flowers. If you'd like more information, go to us at logis.com.